Ndị be anyị ndewonu. Ọ bụ Ada Igbo na-ekwu na Igbo Media. N'Igbo Media, anyị na-ewetara unu ọtụtụ ozi gbasara ihe na-emegasị na Biafra land, n'ala Igbo na mba ndị ọzọ. N'ụbọchị nke taata, o nwere ihe bịara n'iru akwụkwọ anyị nke anyị ga-agụpụtara unu n'ụbọchị taa. Anyị gụpụtachaa ya, unu egee ya ka ọha n'uju. Ị ga-esie ya, ị drọpụọla your comment, like kwa this our video and gbasakwa ya ka o ruo ụmụnna anyị n'ebe dị iche iche arụ. Ozi e wetara unu tata si n'aka otu Biafra activist. O nwere nnukwu ife o kpughere ebe a. Ọ sị, Atiku Abubakar pushed me to hand over Bakassi to Cameroon. I never knew he was fighting for his brother's land, OBJ. Ya bụ ozi ka anyị ji bịa tata na Igbo Media. Ị ga-esi ya bụ ozi, gbaa mbọ gwa anyị ihe chere, ma mekwa ka ozi a lute ụmụnna anyị n'ebe dị iche iche aka. Ngwa gere ya ka ọha n'uju.
And the different part of your land, they even dash it to another country, and that's the case of Bakassi that was, conceded to Cameroon when Obasanjo was there. Even this case has started during the Civil War, and when Obasanjo was there, he eventually gave that part to Cameroon. And I could remember somebody even said that that time that we can do it, we can still retain that area, but I think Obasanjo just decided to dash it away like that. What is your reaction?
That was an international court justice ruling, and we don't want to go into the history of Bakassi Peninsula because of Nigeria's illegality and lack of seriousness that triggered that, not following up actually what is supposed to be. But to give you an insight, it's an oil rich with other minerals beneath the ground. Bakassi is part of Cross River State, and of course it was a Biafran territory. And Gowon actually, gave it out, to Cameroon, so that there'll be kind of blockade, to Biafran struggle at the end of the day. But what amazes a lot of people is that, even after the war has ended, Nigeria allowed that space to be thrown open until 1975, when Gowon actually handed over ceded that territory, Biafran territory, let me say to Cameroon, and Obi and the rest of them has leveraged on that and smiled home with that international court judgment that has never been ratified. It has never been ratified. There's an issue going on there currently now, and for a revelation we are just seeing that actually it was the Fulanese, that brought Obasanjo to power. That's what we have been talking about. That mounted pressure just to make sure that they fractured and dismantled any struggle that has to do with Biafra restoration in future. That means giving it out, it means they have been able to dislocate a certain territorial waters of Biafra, and the issue of Biafra will not come up again at the end of the day. But without them knowing fully well that a time will come, Masop will come, a time will come, IPOB will come, a time will come, it will become a global thing, a time will come, the world is start looking at it, drawing attention and trying to revisit that Green Tree Agreement. That Green Tree Agreement that was entered by Obasanjo, claiming that it was under pressure from the Fulani to cede to Cameroon to continue the conquest. You can see how many years this plan has been, and they have a way of carrying out or what I mean their subjects or their offspring or their descendants continue from where their grandfather start. And Obasanjo coming now to declare that it was the Fulanese that mounted pressure on him, led by Atiku, that made him to go as far as ceding or signing that kind of agreement that was, and the ceremony was done in a town called Achibong in Bakassi area, which is properly, and most of the things are then already been rectified. Now that it has become a global solidarity, a global campaign advocacy for the restoration of Biafra, I think that was what some of the US congressmen are actually looking at this point in time, because agreement need to be signed, this need to be entered, there should be diplomatic, and a lot of them are already signaling from what we got from underground that they are pushing actually for a revisit of that judgment, which was purely a criminality and a deliberate negligence of the Nigerian government to do the needful as at that time, just to weaken anything that has to do with Biafra, that has to do with the old eastern region, and continue to infiltrate the territorial waters using Cameroon at the end of the day. And there's this speculation story too that the man who spearheaded and who mounted pressure on Obasanjo also came from Cameroon, which is Atiku Bakassi,
a Fulani man.
The Fulani man. So you can see what has been going on till this moment, and people are just looking at it. His politics is that they don't understand the conquest angle of it, and thank God that for brighter minds from Bakassi Peninsula, Aziz, have rejected that agreement and insisted. There have been clashes there often and on, and what we are going to experience might be a kind of surprise to the world when the likes of people who saw that act of negligence and criminality and a direct territorial marine attack on the entire old eastern region. Of course, Biafra are talking about it now in the global level, in the world level, in the international level, exploring all diplomatic avenues and calling that criminality that it needs to be visited now that the Biafra kingdom or nation is about to emerge.
This is very, very unfortunate. All of them, they are just looking for the way to, favor their roots, like Buhari that has a Niger Republic roots. Also, Atiku also has a Cameroonian root, and both of them, they always want to favor their roots at the detriment of Nigerians. Very, very unfortunate. How long do you think we'll be able to cope with this kind of a thing?
That there was a report then, that Adamawa, part of Adamawa where Atiku actually came from, was,
Cameroon. They even call him a Cameroonian.
You understand? And so many things like that. And they have a way of using this, sorcery and how would I put it? Way of making things look as if it is real or is working for the interest of national interest, while they are actually trying to achieve their aim at the end of the day. So that's what happened. But what we are hearing is that a certain, which I don't want to disclose here, a certain top US Congress men who are also interested in how they are, because they might not understand the level of legacies and job and work underground in the pipeline nnamdi Kanu has done before the illegal rendition, and these people has met with top people within the artists and of course the liberation leaders of Biafrans, and let me say advocates secretly for what we had, and they have resolved that the issue of Bakassi Peninsula will be revisited given research and revelations that was made in the past regarding that. But let me just say it very clearly here. nnamdi Kanu has taken note of that, and there is going to be a struggle towards that direction, either by omission or commission. Everybody that's involved in that illegality, I think the world can intervene and revisit that whatever Green Tree agreement that led to the ceding of Bakassi Peninsula to Cameroon without the consent of the Biafrans, because the Bakassi Peninsula actually fall in the Biafran territory, and if there's going to be any form of that, it should be done with the consent of the Biafrans, and that is what it is. That is criminality, and that is an act of conquest and agent negligence on the side of the Nigerian government, going to that extra man to cede they are a territory that does not belong to them, to another person, just because you want to win a war.
It is very, very unfortunate. I want you to link that place with Ambazonia. Is it part of Ambazonia, and how important was Ambazonia to the struggle of Biafra?
Yes, I think that to a larger extent, that is going to be something that needed to be worked, because I know that at a point, they have to move out from Nigeria, and they blame certain factors, which must be avoided this time around. See, I do not want to see the entire Biafran government or hierarchy or the entire IPOB leadership, to be mainly Igbo people. It will be something that will be very questionable. Other ethnic nationalities, other ethnic minorities within the Biafran context should be seen in the leadership of the IPOB, should be seen in the leadership of the Biafran government in exile, should also be seen in consultation processes and diplomatic treaties among these people to enhance proper referendum at the end of the day. Without it, the referendum process will be fractured. And that's one of the things that can actually, bring back our defunct or our departed or our brother on the side of Amazonia are coming together to join United States of Biafra. And that's why they say it's United States of Biafra. It is not a one-man thing. It is not an Igbo thing. It is not an Ejo thing. It is not an Ishekiri thing. It is not anybody's thing. It's just a people, who identified themselves in one culture and tradition and decided to take their own destiny to define their own moment. And that's what it should be. And the world and the United Nations should embrace that. But unfortunately, you see, even when this thing happened under the late Kofi Annan, a lot of people did not believe, that he was the one who delegated an undersecretary of the or Secretary General of the United Nations to come and supervise, simply because he enjoyed a personal relationship with Obasanjo as at that time. And that was how they messed up, a matter that 100 years, 200 years, they don't even ratify that kind of matter. So that's why it has gotten to a level the world are beginning to see the signs of recognition, and the sign of major solidarity is coming to Biafra, and they need to look at those areas of enhancement and treaties.
Ngwano dalo ninenu umunnem dikun sinesera ni Igbo media. Gini kunu were ikwu na nkọwa nke unu gbasta maka ihe nọ n'iru akwụkwọ n'ụbọchị uhuruchi nke taa. Gwa ya ife iche n'ụdị nke gị, deela ya n'akara kọmentị ka mara ihe i chere, ma chetakwa tụsa ya bụ ozi ka o were ụmụnne anyị ndị ọzọ ntị. Ndewo na ụmụnne m, ka emesịa nụ.